What are Bitcoin wallets? What is a Bitcoin wallet? So a Bitcoin wallet is equivalent to a decentralized crypto bank account. What it is a piece of software that you keep on a device and you use it to store your public and private keys so that you can be able to send and receive coins on the network. There are various different types of Bitcoin wallets. Here are 8 main types of wallets ranging in various degrees of security. The first are the wallets that are generated on exchanges. So every exchange that you have, you can generate a wallet where you can withdraw and deposit coins. Now, these are the least secure because it's allowing someone else to manage your private keys for you. So if something happens to them, you could potentially lose your money. So there is counterparty risks that you need to manage. Then you have browser wallets, which are just wallets generated on your internet browser, as well as mobile wallets that you can have on your phone. These two types of wallets should be treated as hot wallets or petty cash, where you just use for smaller size transactions because they're not as secure as some of the other wallets. Then you have the core client, which is the main software written by the Bitcoin developers. You have the lightweight client. And the difference between a core client and a lightweight client is that the core client has an entire record of the whole ledger or blockchain, whereas the lightweight only has a partial record. Then you have brain wallets. So you can take any phrase, any words, and you could generate these into a Bitcoin wallet with a public and private key pair. These aren't really considered secure because humans don't tend to create things with a high degree of randomness. That said, there are types of wallets called deterministic wallets that will generate based on 12 or 24 words. These are a lot more secure than just trying to create your own brain wallet because these words are randomly generated. Then you have paper wallets, which are wallets that you can generate offline on a piece of paper and just be able to send your coins to the public address. And then you have hardware wallets. And hardware wallets, what they do is they isolate your private keys from the internet. They give you all the security of a paper wallet, but the ease and convenience of using something like a browser wallet. So here are various different degrees of security, 3 degrees. So hot is private keys that are managed by third parties. So using an exchange, for example, you should never keep all your Bitcoins on an exchange and only use what you're trading and make sure that you manage counterparty risk. You can do this by diversifying among several exchanges and also keeping the majority of your coins offline. Then you have warm wallets, which is managing your own private keys on your own software on your computer, but the software is still connected to the internet, so there could still be vulnerabilities. And then the most secure is cold storage, which is isolating your private keys by keeping them offline entirely. You can do this through paper wallets or hardware wallets. So here are a few things I need to know about the core client. So Bitcoin Core Client is the main Bitcoin software that's written by the Bitcoin developers. It can operate as a node on the network, so it has all the rules of the Bitcoin network encoded into it. And it also keeps a record of the entire blockchain. So obviously that requires some storage on your computer as well as bandwidth for your home internet plan. And it should always be encrypted and backed up, so you'll want to password protect it. And you'll have to, every time you generate new transactions, you'll have to download regular backups. Make sure that you have a clean computer or a dedicated computer, so you want to have it free from viruses. So here are some of the pros of the Core wallet. It's maintained by Core developers, and there's over 100 volunteer contributors who provide code for this wallet. It's considered one of the most secure software wallets out there as far as software is concerned because it has all the rules of the network and the entire ledger, so it doesn't have to trust anybody else's record of the ledger. And it has a record of the entire blockchain, so that's a benefit. And it can be used as a node to help secure the network. So if you want to contribute to the network and make sure that everything's running smoothly, you can volunteer to run one as a node. Here are some of the cons to a Core wallet. It can literally take days to sync. Basically, it has to catch up when you first download it. It needs to catch up on about 8 years worth of transactions, so that can take a while. It requires a lot of storage on your computer, so you want to make sure that you have either a dedicated computer for that or the right amount of storage on your computer. And it also consumes bandwidth, so it's constantly communicating transactions with the network. And if you don't have a good internet plan, it will consume a lot of bandwidth. And it also requires a constant backup every time you generate new transactions. All right, things to know about a lightweight wallet. What a lightweight wallet is, it's software that stores private keys locally on your computer, and it only requires a partial copy of the blockchain. And so as a result of that, it really needs to rely on communicating with full nodes, which are core clients. And one of the most popular forms of lightweight wallets is called Electrum. And Bitcoin has an Electrum, but not every altcoin out there has a lightweight wallet like Electrum. So here are some pros to using a lightweight wallet. It doesn't require a lot of space or bandwidth because it's not downloading the entire blockchain and constantly relaying transactions across the network. It's a lot easier to use than a core wallet. It has more features to it, so it becomes very easy to be able to sweep your private keys, for example. And deterministic seeds don't need constant backup. So these are generated either from 12 or 24 word seeds, and you could use those as a backup, and all your addresses that'll be generated will come from those that seed, which is a private key. And let's say something were to happen to this wallet, you can restore all your coins just by downloading a new copy and putting in the deterministic seeds. So that's different than a Bitcoin core client, whereas if you lose that and you don't have a backup copy of it, then you won't be able to restore it. But here are some of the cons. You need to trust full nodes, so because you don't have a full record of the ledger, you need to trust other people to maintain that. It relies on communicating with a server, so obviously if that server's down, it might not function. And it doesn't contribute to secure the network like a core client does. And it's usually a smaller team of developers than the core volunteers, and not every coin that's out there has this option. So Bitcoin has it, but there are other cryptocurrencies that don't have this. All right, so let's look at paper wallets. So paper wallets are wallets that you'll generate offline to keep your private keys isolated from the internet. So these are generally considered very secure. So the pros are they're unhackable if done right. So you have to make sure that they're done right. They're completely anonymous. Nobody can see your IP address or anything like that when you're generating them, because they're created offline, and they can be physically traded. So you could technically just give someone a paper wallet in exchange for cash or something like that, and then they could sweep the private keys themselves, and that would be kind of like an offline transaction. So here are some of the paper wallet cons. It takes time to set up properly, so you have to make sure that you follow all the right steps, and it's not something that's done instantaneously. It can only be used once if spent. So once you sweep the private keys, you basically just discard them, right? So these are generally used for long-term savings. You don't want to use these for day-to-day transactions because it'll take you way too much time. If coins are lost if paper is damaged. So if you lose your paper wallet or it gets damaged, then you'll lose your private keys and therefore your coins on the network. And private keys could be exposed while sweeping the wallet. So there is one little point of failure. Even if you do it right, you will have to sweep your wallet onto some software that may be connected to an internet, and there's a point of exposure there. All right, so my favorite type of wallets that we highly recommend are hardware wallets. My favorites are Trezor and Ledger Nano S. You have other ones as well, like Case and Cool Wallet, or you can create your dedicated offline computer. The reason why I like hardware wallets is because it gives you all the security of cold storage, but they're really, really easy to use, and they protect you against multiple attacks. So here are the benefits of using Trezor. It's very easy to use, as easy as a web wallet. It keeps your private keys isolated on cold storage so that they become unhackable. And it can be restored with a seed in case of loss. So if it gets damaged or you lose it, you'll have 24 words that you write down on a piece of paper, and all you need to do is buy a new one, and then you can restore the wallet. And you can use it to create multiple passwords. So you can have multiple different accounts with all kinds of different passwords, and each one of those accounts will generate a near infinite amount of addresses for you. And it allows you to generate new addresses for each transaction to protect your privacy. So instead of having all your Bitcoin stored on one single address, it will automatically generate a new one for you every time you receive. So here are some various attacks that the Trezor protects against. So it'll protect you against viruses because it isolates your private keys. So if you have viruses on your computer, they won't be able to access your private keys. Theft. If someone tries to steal your Trezor, they are password protected. Loss. If you lose your Trezor, you can restore it from those 24-word seed. Extortion. If someone tries to hit you with a $5 wrench attack, so you have it all encrypted and such, but they try to extort you, you can have a whole bunch of dummy wallets with various different passwords. And also surveillance, because it's constantly generating new wallets for you. It kind of obfuscates all your Bitcoins on the public network.